Hang on a sec. What's that noise? I don't like the sound of it, but I feel like something's behind me. Oh, jeez! Hey guys, welcome back to another video where today we are back in another Rainbow Friends concept morph. As you might recall from this sign here, we've got a few inside that you can morph into and obviously have a go with their jump scares, which work really well. Now, the reason I'm back on here is because I have seen they have released a new version. That's right, there's a new model out, which is Violet, which is we just come into the room, you can see it's just sat here on the end. Now, I don't know about you, but Violet looks fairly small and very childlike, so I want you to bear this in mind, because if you remember the last video we did where we had Cyan, we did some theories about maybe the attendant might be able to help you, especially in the normal mood and you don't upset her, or potentially that she looks after a few younger creatures that have been turned when they're obviously young, and then obviously end up like something a bit like Violet we've got here, which is why I think personally Violet works out to be potentially one of the creatures that Cyan would look after. Now the reason I say this is because they still kind of resemble a bit of a human that's been converted. I mean, it's got the same head as Red, and the eyes in fact. I mean, basically the head, apart from the little bow there, is Red's head, but they've made it obviously a violet colour, which is a very slight deviation from purple. I think it's just a bit brighter, and obviously with that you got the longer arms, a small body and a skirt, so I'm going to assume this one at this point is going to be a girl model just simply because of the bow and the skirt. I could be wrong and I'm happy for you to correct me, but I think this particular person or this particular creature would work really well as one of the creatures for chapter 2, as I know we are theorising on that the Cyan or the attendee actually looks after. On that train of thought, obviously with that being the case, you can see there is no jump scare, which is why I think this might be more one of the friendly creatures, because if there's no jump scare yet, there's no reason for this one to actually hurt you. But that doesn't mean that if you were to hurt it or take an item away from Violet, obviously let's just say you're running around and Violet's got a key that you need to be able to get to the next area, well, what if you take the key from her and she sits there and cries? Now obviously at that point, that's when Cyan comes running out, sees that you've taken the key from her, and then just starts chasing you like mad. And with, you know, the jump scares that Cyan's got, they are pretty creepy, they are quite terrifying. I would definitely be on the case of running away and not getting caught, but you never know, that might be the case with how it works. So this is obviously, at this point, the newest one that they've added in this game, and a few comments from what you guys have said from the last video, because it made me laugh on some of them, because yeah, you're right. So Brown, I said it would look like something from Star Wars, you were correct, you said it was BB-8, and that's exactly what I had in mind. It's basically the BB-8 with some arms. I mean I can see that, and I'm sure you guys can see it now after saying that. If you look on Google, obviously for BB-8, you can clearly see this looks very similar. But also you said you were teal. Teal looks like Daddy Longlegs. Now, this is why I said it looked familiar. I mean, I don't know about you guys. Do you think this looks like Daddy Longlegs? Let me know in the comments below what you think. But that's exactly why I think this looks very familiar to some other games that we've played in the past. And then we move on to Lime. Now, Lime, I said it was more like a cannon or a drill, just purely because it's based off the jump scare. And actually, some of you have given some good suggestions, but the best one that I thought was really suited to Lime, obviously looking kind of crazy, you know, a bit like this, is Plants vs Zombies. You've obviously got the plants themselves that they shoot peas. You know what I'm getting at? You know those ones? Yeah, that's very similar to this. Obviously, this one, if it was in the game, has it's gained some teeth, and if a zombie did get nearby, it could just pretty much just munch them, just like that, without any issues. And then moving on to the next one, I know that you guys have kind of spotted it out or pointed out that I said it was blue when I actually meant orange. And to make things a bit clearer, well, you've got Maroon here, who is a flying creature, and I did say it's probably one of the first flying creatures. And then obviously some of you mentioned about Black being a flying creature. I mean, technically the one that I found did hover, did fly, but it didn't really suit the game, so I don't know whether to count it or not. I'll let you guys say if, you know, if you agree with myself saying that Black was indeed the first one to fly, or if you think, no, scrap that, this is definitely the first one. Maroon is the first one that looks like an actual character from Rainbow Friends, but also has the ability to fly. So yeah, I was corrected on this, and what I meant to say at the time was this is basically orange with wings and horns on his head. So obviously moving around the other side, you guys had also mentioned about the black and white on that video, and pretty much had the same idea of the whole yin and yang, which is where they can possibly be a good and a bad side, whichever way around you want to put it, it doesn't matter, but at least they have that kind of stability, and they can potentially combine to become some kind of ultimate monster. Last time we didn't get to try it, which is the Vile Ventilation. This is the purple that I need to unlock, so what I will do is I will go and unlock this, and then there's actually some really good information I want to pass on to you guys for, well, I'll try and fit it into a video, but if I can't, I will make another video on it on why this particular version of purple is much better than the other versions we've seen so far, and it's going to be really exciting. So heading back to Violet as a new character in this game, and also one one that I have an idea, or at least a theory, as we've kind of discussed briefly already about Cyan looking after, you know, a creature like this. And I'm sure there'll be like 3 or 4 of them, very different colors, they look similar but not identical. Now, the cool thing about this map, where you escape from the facility on the original Rainbow Friends, and you go into a foresty area. Now, I'm not saying this is it, clearly, this is definitely not it, but it has that same kind of vibe, where you've got your trees, you've got kind of high mounds, where it kind of traps you in and makes it feel like you are trying to work your way towards. In this case, it would be Oddworld, but for now, in this game, it's not quite, but it does give that kind of vibe, which I really like. It's like, maybe you eventually come through the trees and the forests, and then you find a footpath with maybe a campsite. Maybe you find a campsite on the way there. I'm just putting it out there. And with that being said, you can then follow the path to Oddworld, because, you know, some big theme parks do have a campsite next door to them. So Oddworld could have a campsite where people are staying, and you eventually kind of work your way to the campsite, coming out of the kind of forest area, and then you work your way over to here. That's it. You're at Oddworld, but you're at the campsite element. So you have to kind of keep going through without being discovered by other creatures that are probably roaming around, to make sure that you can actually make it to Oddworld, where obviously chapter 2 will begin, which is what we're really looking forward to at this point. So I just had a thought about Violet. Obviously, we were talking about coming out of the forest area to get to Oddworld, but you end up at a campsite, which is like on the outskirts of Oddworld. Do you remember that little theory? Well, we've actually got someone that's just kind of AFK here, just as Violet stood by the fire. So it gave me an idea, obviously, with Violet being here, just chilling out by the campfire, you know, as they do. They were children before and then converted into these creatures, which is then looked after by Cyan, who's the attendant, and also probably the other creatures that are in the game. I'm going to give Violet here a little bit of a boop on the snoot, just because she looks cute. And there we go. Oh no, this isn't good. No, why is it saying wow? This is an AFK player. I don't understand. Okay, so we've managed to bring over Maroon, it looks like, and I don't like this. I think we need to move. Okay, I'm just gonna go over here and try and hide from him, because I'm not liking what's about to happen. Although I'm now at a dead end. Oh, he's gone. Oh, I think we're safe. Well, let's go in. I think if we go to the ventilation system, it works. Whoa! Okay, so Red is obviously here and gave me a bit of a tickle on the head. But we need to get past him, because I want to try to escape all of this going on here. I've still got Violet absolutely screaming at me, chasing me at this point. So I need to escape this. I think the best place is to go is to swoop past Maroon and head into the vents. Now, this is obviously going to be the safest place. Okay, so I think we might have escaped Maroon and Violet, which is great. I want to get somewhere a bit quieter so we can do a bit of theory time. So I'm going to go look to head towards the theater, and hopefully then we'll be okay. I'm gonna say, what's that noise? I don't like the sound of it, but I feel like something's behind me. Oh, Jesus, there is a purple behind us. Okay, I didn't think about purple in events. Obviously, that is where purple lives, but I didn't think he was going to be here chasing us. Okay, I think we've managed to avoid purple. We are now in the city. I think it's safe. This is a public area where creatures don't tend to hang out. So I think this is a good point to head over to our theory time. So heading over to theory time, we've got our first one just here by Purple Sharky 111. And it says, please read this. Theory time. Over time, the friends can actually have different powers, but just the new ones. Cyan can paralyze you and Magenta can teleport you. Now, this is actually a really cool idea. I like the concept that the fact that these new monsters actually have some kind of powers, especially like Cyan can stun you for a few seconds while you're trying to escape from all the others, and it gives you like 3-second countdown before you can continue to even get anywhere, and especially the one by Magenta that you brought up where Magenta can teleport you. I don't know about teleporting, but I will say if Magenta could flick you quite far across the map, I think that's quite a cool little touch. Like, Magenta could be super strong, especially those long arms, and just kind of throw you away, and then it could even throw you into another creature, which then kind of ends your game. End on a bad day. So the next theory time we've got is by PVZ2 Zombie. I assume that's Plants vs. Zombie 2 Zombie. And he says, theory. I think they made Cyan because whenever people went to visit the Rainbow Friends place, there would be a little kid place where little kids can play while the adults go hang out. And Cyan would be the daycare attendant for the kids. So I like this theory quite a lot because it works upon the theory we had in the last video where Cyan is actually an attendee looking after the younger creatures that get turned. And obviously with that being said, we've got one character that's a bit like it in this video, which is Violet, but I like that fact. That is a really cool theory. For the next theory time, we've got one by the Dinos. And they say, theory time. I think in chapter 2, we will actually be in the school and it will end with us going into the sewers. That's where chapter 3 takes place. And in chapter 4, it will just be Oddworld. I like the idea that we actually go back to the school, which is where we start. But it makes me laugh that there's so many chapters coming out because at this point in time, I mean, we'd never know how many chapters chapters are going to be and how many creatures or how many stories they're going to be. But I like the fact that we go back to the school as if everything was okay, and then we go into the sewers, which is where we try to, I assume we escape from some new creatures and head over into, eventually, Oddworld, which is ultimately the end goal of where we want to get to. But that's what I'm going to do with theory times. Thank you very much for doing those. Remember, if you've got a theory, please put them in the comments below in the most recent video, because that's how it makes it easier for me to find your theories to be able to use in a video. So that's why I'm going to leave the video today, guys. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, because it's really appreciated, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!